Imagine the most humiliating thing you can think of doing. Now imagine having to do it for the person you love most in the world. Perhaps it's begging your ex-partner to take you back, even though they've broken your heart countless times. Or maybe it's asking your parents for money to bail you out of debt, even though you know they're struggling financially. Whatever it is, it's something you would never do for anyone else. But for this person, you're willing to swallow your pride and do whatever it takes to please them. Begging someone for intimacy or favor is a complex and emotionally charged experience. It's a mix of desperation, vulnerability, and hope. You're desperate because you need what they have to offer. You're vulnerable because you're putting yourself at their mercy. And you're hopeful because you believe that they'll give you what you want, even though you know you don't deserve it. There are many reasons why people beg for intimacy or favor. Some people do it because they have low self-esteem and believe that they're not worthy of love or respect. Others do it because they're in a difficult situation and they need help. And still, others do it because they're simply addicted to the attention and validation that comes with being desired. In this video, we will look at why you should never beg anyone, regardless of their status or relationship with you. We will dive into Stoic teachings that challenge begging and Stoic exercises you should adopt to help you stop begging anyone. Before we begin, kindly take a minute to subscribe to our channel. I know I sound like a broken record, but it really helps the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are alerted every time we post a new video. We are on a journey of self-development, and we would love it if you came with us. We don't discriminate against anyone. We welcome everyone regardless of their race, gender, background, interest, or sexual orientation. We are strong believers in diversity and inclusion. We also believe that knowledge and wisdom are universal, and everyone deserves a chance to improve and reinvent their lives however they wish it. We are a family. We are your family, and you are welcome. Let's get started. Let's begin by examining how Stoicism views begging. Stoicism views begging in a negative light. Stoics believe that we should be self-sufficient and that we should not rely on others for our happiness or well-being. Begging is seen as a sign of weakness and dependence, and it is something that Stoics strive to avoid. Stoics also believe that we should not be attached to material possessions or external validation. When we beg for something, we are essentially putting our happiness and well-being in the hands of another person. This is something that Stoics believe is unwise and unnecessary. Instead of begging, Stoics believe that we should focus on developing our own skills and abilities so that we can provide for ourselves and our loved ones. We should also focus on cultivating inner strength and resilience so that we can weather the storms of life without relying on others for help. Now that we have a clear understanding of how Stoicism views begging, let's look at why you should never beg anyone. We will divide this video into 2 chapters, each with subchapters expanding further on the information. Chapter 1: Stoic Self-Reliance. At the heart of Stoicism lies the principle of self-reliance, a core value that underscores the Stoic belief in personal responsibility and inner strength. Stoics teach that external circumstances are beyond our control, but our reactions and attitudes are within our power. This is epitomized by Epictetus's famous quote, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." Begging, by its nature, often involves seeking external help or resources. The Stoics would argue that relying on others for our well-being, whether it be financial assistance, emotional support, or validation, is a risky endeavor. Stoicism challenges us to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, for in doing so, we retain control over our lives and maintain our inner peace. Seneca echoes this sentiment, stating, "A wise person is content with their lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what they have not." When we beg, we are essentially giving up control of our lives to others. We are asking them to provide us with what we need, and we are putting ourselves at their mercy. This can be a risky proposition, as we are not always guaranteed to get what we want, and even if we do, it may come at a cost to our dignity or self-respect. The Stoics would argue that it is better to be self-reliant and to develop the inner strength to meet our own needs. This doesn't mean that we should never ask for help from others, but it does mean that we should not rely on others for our basic happiness or well-being. Chapter 2. The Pitfalls of Begging. Begging, while sometimes seen as a means of survival or a plea for assistance, can lead to numerous pitfalls, according to Stoic philosophy. Here are common problems associated with begging, according to Stoicism. The first problem is loss of dignity. The act of begging can undermine our sense of dignity and self-worth. Epictetus cautions against trading our self-respect for external gains, stating, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Begging can make us vulnerable to feelings of shame and inadequacy, undermining our capacity to embody the wisdom we claim to possess. The second problem is emotional turmoil. Begging often arises from a desire to fulfill emotional needs, such as seeking validation or approval. Stoicism teaches that relying on external validation for our emotional well-being is a recipe for turmoil. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By seeking approval or emotional support from others, we relinquish control over our own thoughts and emotions. The third problem is dependency. Stoics emphasize that we should aim to be self-sufficient in all aspects of life. Begging creates a dependency on external sources, which can lead to power imbalances and a loss of personal agency. Seneca wisely notes, "The greatest wealth is to live content with little, for there is never want where the mind is satisfied." The fourth problem is unpredictable outcomes. When we beg for something, we place our fate in the hands of others, with no guarantee of receiving what we seek. This unpredictability can lead to frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. Epictetus advises us to focus on what is within our control and accept the rest with equanimity. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Instead of begging, Stoicism has several alternatives that help you manage and navigate your problems. Rather than resorting to begging, Stoicism offers a compelling alternative based on self-reliance and virtue. Stoic philosophy encourages individuals to cultivate their inner strength, wisdom, and resilience to navigate life's challenges. Seneca, in his essay on the shortness of life, writes, "We are born to be useful, and so it is better to make one's life useful by our own free choice rather than as the result of some external compulsion." Instead of begging for assistance, Stoics propose the following principles. The first principle is self-improvement. Invest your energy in self-improvement and the development of your inner virtues such as wisdom, courage, and self-control. By focusing on these qualities, you become more self-reliant and better equipped to handle life's challenges. The second principle is acceptance. Embrace the Stoic idea of amor fati, the love of fate, and accept the things that are beyond your control. By letting go of the desire for external outcomes, you can find tranquility in the face of adversity. The third principle is gratitude. Practice gratitude for what you have rather than dwelling on what you lack. Seneca advises he is a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver, but he is equally great who uses silver as if it were earthenware. By cultivating gratitude, you can find contentment with life's simple pleasures. The fourth principle is Stoic resilience. Cultivate resilience and inner strength to face challenges with courage and equanimity. Marcus Aurelius encourages us. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. By facing adversity with courage, we become the masters of our own destiny. Let's wind up the video. Stoicism provides a compelling case for why you should never beg anyone. It underscores the value of self-reliance, personal responsibility, and inner strength. By avoiding the pitfalls of begging, such as loss of dignity, emotional turmoil, dependency, and unpredictable outcomes, individuals can lead a life characterized by Stoic wisdom, virtue, and tranquility. Stoicism invites us to embrace self-improvement, acceptance, gratitude, and resilience as alternatives to begging, empowering us to lead a life of purpose and contentment. In the words of Epictetus, "Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. Then your life will flow well." By following the Stoic path, we can achieve a life that flows well, free from the burdens of dependency and begging.